The little family that walks the dogs back up and down here. I stay inside. I don't want to scare anybody because it's cute. They have little, two toddlers. The two toddlers. She had a dress on and cowgirl boots. So cute. He has a little mohawk. They're cute. But I was sitting there. They have Roundup sprayed all down that one grass berm thing right down there, and I was thinking about cutting it. I was like, you get yourself sick. I'm just gonna have to wash it out with the hose again tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll get up. I'll bunk that shit. You know what? It's nice and cool. I got lights on that thing. I think what I'll do is I'll bust out the hose because they didn't cut there because it's up on Packard's thing right along the road there. I think what I'll do is set it at a decent thing. I don't see any rocks up on there. I walked past it when I go to the mail, and I think I'm going to cut that to get down, and then if we get some more rain, that'll wash a lot of that away, and there won't be a lot of Roundup and weed killer when those little guys, those two little people walk down that. So, because they're too cute. Oh my gosh. It's a little family that walks with their dogs. They take the toddlers. Toddlers are so cute, man. Did you love toddlers? And they deserve the cleanest air and the freshest water, and they had the thing on TV, about that deck park thing. It's like, yeah, let's put a park over the freeway, Yeah, by all means, we just built a couple new hospitals, right? These people can't afford to go to the Bahamas or to Tahoe or Jackson Hole. So, let's let them go, run out to a park on the freeway so we can make good use of that new cancer research hospital, Texas Tech Cancer Research Hospital in El Paso, right? But we got to get working with that money to make sure it's in the right place so we don't have 400 people piled up at a crematorium for 3 years because they don't have the resources to burn the bodies. They get the money, but there's so much bills and so much, whatever they're doing with the money, the bodies didn't get burned because it takes, you got to have the fuel and the things and to burn the bodies and store the bodies. And son of a bucket, right? It's horrible. And you sit and watch it, and it's just, we should have, King Solomon's treasure, his Proverbs, share, care, given according to esteem, build to last. Okay. When we have as many people as we do in Ciudad Juarez, okay, and we need people to be healthy, and right now they're just not healthy. There's too much pollution. There's too much induced economic genocide through poverty. And these bodies, the only way we can show any dignity and respect to the ancestors is to burn the bodies and then spread out the ashes to help the soil as we park the cars, bars, and wars. We live the faith of Psalms and the wisdom of Proverbs. Your father is here. Okay, that statue of Pope Francis is for pendejo. That statue they put up of Abraham Lincoln and Benito Juarez, that was a bunch of pendejos put that on to make you think that they're like those two men when they're nothing like those two men. ¿Tú entiendes? Okay. Just because an artist can take an old picture and make a rock look like that man doesn't mean that man's that man. Okay? I mean, one of my favorite statues of all time is the Pietà of Michelangelo, where Mary's holding Jesus' dead body. And a man climbed over a thing angry because they see that rock is more valuable than children and broke the nose off the Pietà. Right? And I was like, don't take out on Michelangelo and the spirit, the inspiration of the spirit of, I saw 3 ships come sailing in on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. And what was in those ships, all 3 at Christmas Day in the morning? My mom was murdered by the cancer industry. I'm being tortured by the people that give us that industry to make me give in. You'd be more comfortable if you did this and that and that. You'd eat better if you didn't have to cook for your dad's diet, you would eat more salads and stuff. It's like, and if you guys had forgiven debt and trespass and love one eternal faithful peace, and I had the house I deserve in the Gila with my dad, I could have a separate fridge with things that he likes to eat, and I could have things in my fridge that I like to eat. Okay? But I don't have money. And when I had money, I was working, I had a refrigerator, I took it out because it was making me uncomfortable and physically. And I ate mostly at work with the kids. And they didn't eat real well because they were eating restaurant food all the time because we were being murdered by the pollution in our jobs, right? Because you don't give a fuck about my people, and I do. You know, Jesus, he kept company with the lepers and the whores, and was a resident of Nazareth, a penal colony, where the people were sent to die. Okay, and so no champion, no champion está aquí. Yo es, the niño that was born in the valley of the Rio Grande. That's our, our padre. I'm the gracious good shepherd. I'm the spirit of dad, not the statue of Benito Juarez, not the statue of Abraham Lincoln, not the statue of Pope Francis. Okay, everybody knows Earl's, who loves you, pretty baby? Who's gonna love you, mama? Everybody knows, all the little girls at the pageants in El Paso, okay, deserve the Lord's Prayer. They don't need to get all dressed up and feel like Melanie Griffith and Tony Curtis and Janet Leigh's daughter and Michelle Yao and all that shit. That's for pendejo, man. It's for pendejo. It's it's a deck project. They need a place to go play till they die. Remember the security guard at Disneyland? When me and Amy were doing something and the guy told us, no, don't do it. It was, I think, did we take the kids? I don't think so. He said, don't go on the grass. He goes, there was a reason why they have all that that garbage can right there and all the food in it, and there's no ants. Because they spray weed killers and pesticides incessantly on those things. So that's why it's always roped off. The grass is roped off. The security guard said, don't sit on the benches. Don't go try to sit on the grass. It'll make you sick. Okay. He was a chubbier, older security guard. It's like, wow, thanks. Thank you very much. Thank you for caring about us. Because he was one of us. Okay. Poor people having a good time just ignorantly doing stuff at Disneyland, and we weren't represented by Kardashian, Shapiro, or Cochran, right? I am the champion. I'm no people's champion. Okay. I'm not here to slay Goliath. I'm not here to slay the Philistines. I'm here to circumcise people's hearts so we can all accept the Lord and the Lord's Prayer worldwide. If we were living the Lord's Prayer by 2013, I'd still have all my teeth. Okay? If we were living the Lord's Prayer, I wouldn't have Michelle. She was killed in 2011 to 12. But she was murdered that Christmas before the kids were kidnapped by the sheriff's deputy's departments in Easter 2012. Michelle was murdered that Christmas, when the same year my grandmother died. And so, it wasn't, I was trapped in the books too. I was talking to people in the timetables, and I was thinking, okay, this has to be fulfilled. And then I realized, once we fulfilled it and they still didn't do anything, that they have no intention. They're still on TV saying, this is the end of times, here's Goag and Moag. It's like everybody in their fucking right mind, left mind knows Goag and Moag was World War I and World War II. Okay, it's covered in the book of Daniel. Okay, which was World War II. Okay, I'm not Herschel Steinschneider. I'm Ralph Earl Parsons Jr., son of Ralph and Mary. It doesn't say Herschel Steinschneider, born in the Austro-Hungarian border. It says Earl, okay, the uncle of Gabe and Mike, born outside the Trinity site. Okay? You don't tell me about my life story and how I live it and how faithful and truthful and beautiful and kind and brave I am. Okay. I prove it to you. And if you don't believe it, you guys, you're gods. Your own gods. The day when I was cutting the thing, I felt like freaking Mick Saban, right? We need a new god at Alabama to make sure we can win 5 more championships in the next 8 years. If that doesn't happen, we'll fire him and we'll hire Dabo Sweeney. No, I'm just kidding around. That's what happened with Dabo Sweeney, man. Dude won like 2 championships in 5 years, right? And got to the championship game and then he had a rough patch because the other teams, had better, just put together some teams that were doing better. And people were saying, well, you need to fire that motherfucker. He suck, right? And it's like, man, he got y'all 2 national championships, Yeah, but his quarterback was he wasn't a sex offender. No, they signed a legal contract, okayed by a Texas attorney, under Texas law. He did not break any laws to the state of Texas. He got his attorney to make sure that he could get his massages and that everything on the massage that was covered on the massage was signed off on a legal contract. That's why he did not go to jail. That's why he didn't lose his shirt. That's why he was able to sign a huge contract to play quarterback in Cleveland. Wow. You want to call a lowrider to take you to the courthouse? You know how to, do bullshit while I'm ending dictation and legislation through the liberation of real Christian Islam education? Okay. Now, they had that one idiot from Arizona, killing Christianity is wrong. No, Christianity is not wrong. Do you blame Christ for Warren Jeffs, Jim Jones, and David Koresh? Okay, Jesus said, stand up and forgive debt and trespass and love one another, eternal faithful peace. Okay, if those motherfuckers really did that, I don't think Jim Jones did that. That motherfucker gave everybody cyanide Kool-Aid and killed them, unless, of course, maybe it was the CIA that did it, and they were just trying to go to Jonestown to live the ways. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe LeVar Burton and all those people are all full of shit and they liars. Okay, maybe Branch Davidian was trying to, but Waco, Texas just, fucked it up. They screwed the pooch. Maybe Warren Jeffs was one of the best guys in the world, but I don't believe that shit. Now, I believe the little girls that tried to get away from that crazy-ass motherfucker, and I believe the guys more that, the LeVar Burtons and stuff, for the guys who LeVar Burton played in the movie. I believe those folks. I've seen what wackadoodles can do in the name of cultism and call it, how many people, our own government and the government of Israel and the government of Iran, mass murdering their own people for oil products in the name of the Gospels, and none of them saying we should all be living the Lord's Prayer there, hey? Okay? So don't believe the Oscar award winners on TV. They have no choice. They all think they're Meryl Streep trying to win an Oscar. Okay, guys, I love you very much. All right, peace.